priest, Tony Lowinger, state chairman of Oklahomans for Life. We can't do what we do without Tony. He faithfully comes up here every single day, encourages us, has great wisdom, and he's the reason we've gotten past all the pro-life legislation that we have. So please welcome Tony Lowinger.
I'm going to embarrass someone, but she deserves to be embarrassed. It's the individual whose name is on the program, Joan Naylor, and she will protest that it was because of the work of others, Tom Nix and Louise Maggio and Joyce and Paul Caldall and Doris McGuire and others who helped her in those early days. But I want you to know what really went on at the first Rose Day and those first early years. Rose Day was not always what it is today, and the pro-life movement wasn't always what we see here before us. In those first dark days and months following the Supreme Court abortion rulings of 1973, millions of pro-life Americans felt stunned, incredulous, and outraged at what the court had done. Our honoree, Joan Naylor, it could be rightly said of, has always lived by the motto, "It is better to light one candle than to curse the darkness." On the first anniversary of the court's decision, National Right to Life Committee's Washington director, Nellie Gray, assumed responsibility for organizing a march in Washington, a march for life. The symbol of the march would be the rose, the symbol of life. Joan Naylor wanted to go to Washington for the march, but wasn't able to, so she did the next best thing, which in this case was a better thing. She staged the first Rose Day at the Oklahoma State Capitol. That was 1974, 35 years ago. Already a veteran of efforts on behalf of pro-family causes at the Oklahoma legislature, Joan Naylor summoned her constant companion in those efforts, Ruth McFarland, and together they bought 149 roses, one for each member of the House and Senate. They attached a message urging the legislators to defend the unborn child. Joan and her co-worker Ruth were wives and mothers. They were stay-at-home moms who couldn't stand to see the society go into a downward spiral and not do something about it. From that modest beginning, Rose Day has grown to what it is today. Ruth McFarland was Joan's inseparable partner in so many battles for what is right and good. Ruth died 3 years ago. Joan and Ruth, that was a phrase known to so many. Last names weren't necessary. Joan and Ruth is all you needed to know. If they were for something, it was bound to be something worth fighting for. If they were against something, it was because it was something that would cheapen our culture and undermine our values. One of the great things that has developed during the 3.5 decades of the pro-life movement has been the way members of so many different churches have come together to fight for the right to life. What began in this building as the independent effort of 2 Catholic mothers has grown today into this magnificent demonstration for life in which the Baptist General Convention takes such a wonderful leadership role, joined by so many other churches. From modest beginnings 35 years ago, for which we have Joan Naylor to thank, we have collectively grown to this wonderful show of unity and resolve today. Let us never lose sight of what is our great consolation and source of encouragement in this struggle. It is not that God is on our side. It is rather that we are on God's side in defending the most precious little masterpiece of His creation, the innocent unborn child. Remembering how dark were those days following the court's abortion decision, let us recall something Andrew Jackson once said. One person with courage makes a majority. Joan Naylor is such a person. Joan, would you please come up?
Somebody got it out there, David, too.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. When Tony told me that the first Rose Day would be, that Rose Day would pay tribute to that first day, I told him I would come, but not to single me out. And I didn't know until an hour ago, where are you, Tony? That I would be singled out. And I told him I'd like to just take 1 minute. I was one of the first people to come out to Rose Day. And the next year we had 35 people, and the next year 200. And we slowly watched it grow. But when you want to go big time, what do? You call the Baptist Convention. And I just want to say, when I look around at the seniors here, like I am now, I once wasn't, the young people, the mothers with their children, I want you to know that Rose Day is in good hands. My name is Joan Naylor, and I am a Roman Catholic. I'm a traditional Catholic, and I have 4 children and 22 grandchildren and 5 great-grandchildren. Well, it was a friend of mine, Ruth McFarland. We were very close. We're talking one day how we wished we could go to Washington for the March for Life that they hold every year there. But she had 5 small children, I had 4, and we felt like we just couldn't take a trip like that. And in the course of our conversation and thinking about what we might do, it just kind of hit us. We'll do our own Rose Day thing, and we went out and bought 150 roses and pinned a little card on them. And then the next year, we had about 200 people. I think that was primarily because we did then what Nellie Gray was doing and reached out to a mailing list and told people if they'd send us $1, we would buy a rose for them and put their name on the card so their legislator would know that it came from them. I mean, that was 40 years ago, and to know that we're persevering and we're not going to give up this fight. And I'm really, every year, so happy to see what goes on at our state capitol. Primarily, mostly being a Catholic, and the Catholic Church is certainly against abortion. Well, of course, the ultimate dream would be that it not only would be outlawed, but that nobody even want to do something like that. And it doesn't take a lot to understand that it's so wrong to kill a baby. Well, I thank all of you too, and everybody that makes that trip out there on Rose Day, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful thing to watch.